On March 19, 2026, a significant event occurred in the skies over central Iran. An American F-35A Lightning II, one of the most advanced stealth fighter jets in the world, was struck by hostile fire. The aircraft was conducting a combat mission deep inside Iranian territory, a task for which its stealth capabilities were specifically designed. The incident happened in the early morning hours at approximately 2:50 a.m. local time. This marked a serious moment in the ongoing conflict, which had started in late February 2026. It was the very first time a U.S. F-35 was confirmed to have been hit by an enemy weapon system during combat operations, challenging long-held assumptions about its near invincibility in contested airspace. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, quickly claimed responsibility for the attack. They stated that one of their advanced next-generation air defense systems had successfully engaged the American jet. According to their public statements, the F-35 sustained serious damage, and they believed it had a high probability of crashing before it could return to its base. This claim was not just a simple press release. It came with purported evidence, adding a layer of credibility that previous boasts often lacked. The IRGC's declaration was a bold message to the United States, suggesting that its technological superiority in the air was not absolute and that Iran retained a dangerous capacity to fight back. The American pilot, though wounded by shrapnel from the impact, managed to keep control of the damaged aircraft. The pilot performed a successful emergency landing at a U.S. airbase located somewhere in the Middle East. This skillful act of airmanship saved not only the pilot's life, but also the highly valuable and secretive aircraft itself. The pilot was immediately given medical attention and was officially reported to be in stable condition. The survival of the pilot and the recovery of the jet provided the U.S. military with a crucial opportunity to study exactly what happened, how the stealth fighter was hit, and what vulnerabilities were exposed during the mission. This single engagement has sent ripples through defense communities around the world. The F-35 program is the most expensive weapon system in history, built on the promise of evading the world's most sophisticated air defenses. The fact that an F-35 was successfully targeted and struck by Iran raises profound questions about the future of aerial warfare. It forces military planners to reconsider the tactics, risks, and technological assumptions that have guided air operations for decades. The incident over central Iran was not just an attack on an aircraft. It was an attack on the very idea of guaranteed American air dominance, a concept that has been a cornerstone of U.S. military strategy. Immediately following the incident, both Iran and the United States presented their own versions of the events, with key details overlapping but also diverging significantly. Iran's narrative was one of military triumph. The IRGC claimed a direct hit and released video footage to support its assertion. The video, which appeared to be from an infrared tracking system, showed a target lock on a small, fast-moving aircraft. It then showed a flash, indicating a strike, followed by a visible heat signature that seemed to show a fluid leak near the aircraft's engine. Iranian state media, such as Fars News and Tasnim, broadcast this footage widely, proclaiming it as definitive proof of their military's advanced capabilities against a top-tier American asset. On the American side, the response was more measured and controlled. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, confirmed the core of the story. A spokesperson, Navy Captain Tim Hawkins, acknowledged that a U.S. F-35 had indeed conducted an emergency landing after a combat mission over Iran. He also confirmed that the pilot was in stable condition after suffering what he described as shrapnel wounds. This official confirmation was a critical development. It prevented the incident from being dismissed as mere propaganda and forced the Pentagon to admit that one of its premier combat aircraft had been successfully engaged by the enemy, a rare and serious admission in any conflict. However, the U.S. confirmation was carefully worded to reveal as little as possible. While Iran claimed serious damage and a high likelihood of a crash, the Pentagon simply stated the aircraft had landed. The official statements did not describe the extent of the damage to the F-35, nor did they specify the exact nature of the pilot's injuries beyond the general term shrapnel wounds. This deliberate withholding of information is standard procedure during an active conflict, as details could provide valuable intelligence to the enemy. It also allows the military to control the public narrative and prevent panic or loss of confidence in its equipment and strategy. The difference in tone between the two sides is stark. Iran projected an image of strength and defiance, using the incident to boost morale at home and send a warning to its adversaries. Their goal was to show that they could inflict real pain on a technologically superior power. In contrast, the United States aimed to project an image of control and resilience. By confirming the basic facts but withholding sensitive details, the Pentagon sought to manage the story, acknowledge a setback without creating a crisis, and begin the process of investigating what went wrong. The two narratives, while rooted in the same event, serve very different strategic purposes for each nation. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has a long and well-documented history of making bold, and often unsubstantiated, claims about its military successes. For years, Iranian state media has circulated stories and even fabricated images of downed American and Israeli aircraft. For example, in October 2024, images claiming to show a downed Israeli F-35 were widely shared but were quickly proven to be fake. More recently, in the current conflict, the IRGC claimed responsibility for the downing of 3 U.S. F-15E Strike Eagles on March 1, 2026. However, a U.S. investigation later confirmed that this was a tragic friendly fire incident involving a Kuwaiti F-A-18, not Iranian action. This pattern of exaggerated or false claims has led many international observers to be highly skeptical of any announcement coming from Tehran. This time, however, the situation is different. The claim about hitting the F-35 on March 19 is being taken much more seriously by the international community, and for very specific reasons. The most important factor is the partial confirmation from the U.S. military itself. CENTCOM's admission that an F-35 made an emergency landing after a combat mission and that its pilot was wounded gives significant weight to the core of Iran's claim. Without this American acknowledgement, the story might have been dismissed just like previous ones. The Pentagon's confirmation, however limited, changed the entire dynamic of the information war surrounding the event. Another key element lending credibility to Iran's claim is the video evidence it released. While military footage can be manipulated, open-source intelligence analysts quickly examined the video. Their consensus was that the footage appeared authentic and was consistent with the known capabilities of Iranian electro-optical and infrared tracking systems. The analysts concluded that it was unlikely to be computer-generated or a simulation. The visual evidence of a target lock, a missile launch or projectile impact, and a subsequent leak from the aircraft provided a compelling, though not conclusive, piece of the puzzle that aligned with the known facts of the incident. Because of these factors, the U.S. confirmation and the supporting video evidence, the March 19 incident stands apart from Iran's history of military boasts. It marks a shift from propaganda to a verifiable combat event. While Iran may still be exaggerating the extent of the damage, the fundamental claim that they successfully engaged and struck one of America's most advanced fighter jets appears to be true. This reality has forced a reassessment of Iran's defensive capabilities and has demonstrated that even a nation under intense military pressure can still pose a credible threat to state-of-the-art air power, a sobering lesson for the U.S. and its allies. The question of how an F-35, an aircraft designed from the ground up to be invisible to enemy radar, could actually be targeted and hit is honestly of paramount importance. The attack was likely not carried out by a traditional radar-guided missile system, which frankly, the F-35 is specifically built to defeat. Instead, evidence and expert analysis point toward a different kind of weapon, a surface-to-air missile guided by a passive sensor system. These systems don't rely on emitting radar signals to find their targets. Instead, they hunt for aircraft by detecting the heat they produce, using advanced electro-optical and infrared sensors, often called EO/IR, to lock on. This method of targeting presents, a unique and really difficult challenge for stealth aircraft. The F-35's design is optimized to deflect and absorb radar waves, making it incredibly hard to track with conventional air defense systems. However, it's still a jet-powered aircraft, and that means it generates a significant amount of heat from its engine exhaust. A passive EO/IR system doesn't send out any signals for the F-35's warning systems to detect. It simply watches and waits, scanning the sky for the telltale heat signature of an aircraft. This makes it a silent hunter, and honestly, it can be very difficult for a pilot to know they're being tracked until the missile is already in the air. Iran has invested heavily in developing and acquiring a variety of air defense systems, including those that use passive EO/IR tracking. The video footage released by the IRGC, showing an infrared view of the F-35, strongly supports the theory that such a system was used in the attack. These systems can be integrated with other sensors and networked together, creating a layered and resilient air defense network that's much harder to dismantle than one based solely on radar. Even if US forces successfully destroy many of Iran's radar sites, these passive systems can remain hidden and active, posing a persistent threat to air operations. The successful use of such a weapon against an F-35 serves as a stark reminder that stealth is not a cloak of invisibility. It's a technology that provides a significant advantage by delaying detection and complicating an enemy's ability to achieve a weapons-grade lock. However, it does not make an aircraft invincible. As sensor technology continues to evolve, new ways to detect and track stealth aircraft will emerge. The incident over Iran really demonstrates that the cat-and-mouse game between aircraft designers and air defense engineers is very much alive, and that a determined adversary can find ways to counter even the most advanced military technology. While the US Department of Defense confirmed the core details of the incident, the information it's chosen to withhold is just as significant. The Pentagon's official statements have been intentionally vague, leaving honestly many critical questions unanswered. For instance, officials haven't specified which variant of the F-35 was hit, though it's widely believed to be the F-35A, the US Air Force version. They've also refused to name the airbase where the pilot landed the damaged aircraft, which is a standard security measure to protect the location from potential attack. This operational security is understandable, but it also creates a vacuum of information that can, be filled with speculation and mistrust. The most important detail being withheld is the true extent of the damage to the F-35. Iran claimed the jet suffered serious damage, while the US has only confirmed it made an emergency landing. The difference is huge. Was the damage superficial, easily repairable, and a testament to the aircraft's resilience? Or was it catastrophic, requiring extensive and costly repairs and proving the effectiveness of the Iranian weapon? The answer to this question has massive implications for the F-35 program and for the perception of American military strength. By keeping this information classified, the Pentagon maintains control, but it also fuels doubts about the aircraft's survivability in a real-world combat scenario. Similarly, the specifics of the pilot's injuries have been kept under wraps. The official statement mentioned shrapnel wounds in a stable condition, but honestly, this provides little insight into the severity of the situation. Shrapnel can cause minor cuts or life-threatening injuries. Knowing more about how the pilot was injured could reveal information about where the aircraft was struck and how the cockpit's defenses performed. This information is vital for improving pilot safety and aircraft design in the future. The silence on this matter, while intended to protect the pilot's privacy and operational security, also contributes to the overall lack of transparency surrounding the event. This pattern of withholding information, while standard military practice, carries its own risks. In an information war, transparency can be a powerful tool for building trust with the public and with allies. When the Pentagon is silent on key details, especially in the face of an adversary's very specific claims, it can create an impression that the situation is worse than officials are letting on. This information gap raises questions about accountability and can undermine public confidence in military leadership. The balance between protecting sensitive intelligence and being transparent with the public is, honestly, a difficult one, and in this case the many unanswered questions leave a cloud of uncertainty over a very serious event. The timing of the F-35 incident in relation to public statements from top US leaders created, honestly, a jarring and confusing narrative. Just hours after the advanced stealth fighter was struck by Iranian fire, senior officials were publicly declaring a decisive and near-total victory in the air war over Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, in a widely reported press conference, boldly stated that Iranian air defenses had been flattened. He went on to assert that the United States was winning decisively, painting a picture of overwhelming American dominance and a collapsed Iranian military capability. This statement was made after the Pentagon was already aware that one of its most advanced jets had been hit. The disconnect became even more pronounced just a short time later. As CNN first broke the story of the damaged F-35, then-President Donald Trump was in a meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. Speaking to reporters during the meeting, President Trump echoed the sentiment of his defense secretary, claiming, "Their anti-aircraft equipment is gone." He added with striking confidence, "We have nobody even shooting at us." This statement was made almost at the exact moment the American public was learning that a U.S. pilot had in fact been shot at and wounded over Iran, forcing an emergency landing of his stealth fighter. These contradictory statements raise serious questions about the information flow and communication strategy within the U.S. government. Was there a significant delay in relaying critical combat information to top leadership? Or were the leaders aware of the incident but chose to proceed with their planned public remarks anyway, hoping the news wouldn't break so quickly? Either possibility is concerning. The first suggests a breakdown in command and control, while the second suggests a deliberate attempt to mislead the public and international partners about the true state of the conflict at a critical moment. The sequence of events suggests that the optimistic declarations of victory were premature at best, and, honestly, dangerously disconnected from reality at worst. The F-35 incident proved that Iran's air defenses were far from flattened, and that they were still very much capable of shooting at us. This stark contrast between the confident rhetoric from Washington and the harsh reality over the skies of Iran damaged the credibility of the leadership's assessments of the war. It created an impression that the administration was either not fully informed about the situation on the ground, or was not being truthful about the risks American service members were facing. The successful engagement of a U.S. F-35 by Iranian air defenses is, really, a watershed moment with profound strategic implications. First and foremost, it shatters the myth of invincibility that has long surrounded advanced stealth aircraft. For decades, the promise of stealth technology was that it would allow air forces to operate with near impunity in even the most heavily defended airspace. This incident serves as a powerful and practical demonstration that stealth is not a magical cloak. It is a technological advantage that can be countered. This reality forces a fundamental rethinking of how future air operations will be planned and executed, especially against determined and resourceful adversaries. This event proves that, despite a 3-week-long intensive air campaign aimed at dismantling its military infrastructure, Iran retained a credible, advanced, and lethal air defense capability. The confident U.S. claims of achieving total air superiority were shown to be premature. The ability of Iran to keep a sophisticated system hidden, active, and effective enough to strike an F-35 demonstrates a level of resilience that military planners must now account for. It suggests that future missions over hostile territory will carry a higher level of risk than previously assumed, and that simply destroying known radar sites is not enough to guarantee the safety of even the most advanced aircraft. As a result of this incident, the United States and its allies will likely be forced to change their air combat tactics. This could involve developing new strategies to detect and destroy passive sensor systems, deploying more electronic warfare assets to support stealth aircraft, or altering mission profiles to avoid known threat zones. It may also accelerate the development of next-generation technologies designed to counter advanced infrared sensors. In the short term, it could mean that pilots flying missions over Iran will face greater danger, and the U.S. military may have to accept a higher rate of attrition for its most valuable assets than it has been accustomed to in recent conflicts. Ultimately, the strike on the F-35 changes the calculus of the ongoing war and future conflicts. It has shown that the technological gap between the U.S. and its adversaries, while significant, is not insurmountable. It provides a major propaganda victory for Iran and may embolden other nations to invest in similar anti-access and area denial capabilities. For the United States, it's a sobering wake-up call. The era of uncontested air dominance is facing its most serious challenge yet, and honestly, the future of air power will be defined by a continuous and costly race between the technologies of stealth and the technologies of detection.